Hello and welcome to Dial Success. This program is designed to help you master the skills of successful telephone selling, focusing on the master skill of selling appointments. Although this program focuses specifically on selling appointments, the skills covered can be used to increase the sales of any product or service. My name is Mike Laputte, and I'll be working with you during this program, helping you define why you want to increase your sales or appointments, helping you develop a positive mental attitude, define your target market, develop a script, identify and overcome objections, improve your conversion ratios, and increase the number of appointments or orders that you get. What we're going to cover works, and it can work for you starting right now. This is an interactive workshop, and you are encouraged to do written exercises. I'm going to set things up for you and ask you to pause the program and complete exercises. It's important that you then take the time to complete the tasks. This will increase your understanding, your ability, and your results. If you're driving, simply listen to the whole program and do the written exercises later. My first question then: why did you buy this program? Why is it so important that you become excellent at telephone selling, and in particular, excellent at getting appointments over the phone? Pause the program now, write down your answer, and return to the program when you're ready. Welcome back. Now, I don't know what you've written down in answer to the first question, although I could probably have a good guess. The important thing is that you know why you're doing this. Let me, though, talk to you about the factory model. What I would like you to do is to imagine a production line in a factory. Because if you're in sales, you're in production. You have an order production line. You have prospecting going on at one end and orders coming off the other end. Your job is to keep feeding the production line. Now, if you have a production line that relies on face-to-face selling, then part of your production line relies on your ability to convert inquiries and prospects into appointments. At this stage, your job is to sell the appointment. This is a key result area. In production, we know that the speed of production depends on the slowest process. It's no good you and your sales team being 10 out of 10 at face-to-face presentation skills if you're 2 out of 10 at getting the appointment, because the speed of the production line is 2. In project management, we talk about dependent tasks. Your ability to use your face-to-face presentation skills is dependent on your ability to get an appointment with the prospect in the first place. Your inability to excel in this one area could seriously affect your ability to achieve your full sales potential. Increasing your skills in this area will dramatically improve your chances of success. Why? Well, because it's the start of your production line. The more appointments you put on at this end, the more the orders will come off at the other end. So here's an interesting exercise for you, and you can do this as a team. Take a blank piece of paper and draw a line east to west across the middle, dividing the page into 2 halves. In the top half, write down how many appointments you believe you should get every day. In the bottom half, how many appointments you are actually getting every day. Do that now. Okay, if you did that as a team, the next exercise is to collate all the numbers and get an average of how many appointments the team believes it should be getting and how many the team are actually getting. If you did it on your own, then you already have the figure. Okay, now you may have something like, we should be getting 4 appointments a day and we're only getting 2. Or we should be getting 2 and we're only getting 1. The figures are going to vary tremendously. I can remember working with one team who said their average was 1. I said, 1 appointment a day? And they said, oh, no, 1 appointment a month. So it's going to vary tremendously depending on your product, your service, and your industry. The question really is, what is the difference between what you should be getting and what you are getting? Now, if you're in the situation where you should be getting 4 appointments a day and you're only getting 2, here's an interesting question for you. If you increased your appointments from 2 to 4, and everything else remained constant, by that I mean that your conversion ratio from appointment to order, quotation to order, or demonstration to order didn't change, what would happen to your sales? Well, the answer is you would get a 100% increase in sales without changing the ratios at any other stage of production. You would quite simply double your sales. So here's another question. If you should be getting what's in the top box and you're only getting what's in the bottom box, why aren't you getting the number of appointments you believe you should be getting? I guess the reason you bought this program in the first place is because you're not getting enough orders or appointments. So the question is, why not? Pause the program now and write down all the reasons why you're not getting the number of appointments or orders you believe you should be getting. And remember, I didn't say how many you should be getting. You did that in the last exercise. Do it now. Okay, now look at your list, and I wish I could be there with you to look at it. But you have to do this on your own, so be honest. Look down your list. There's going to be a mixture of things which are fact, opinion, and emotion. So why don't you take the time to go down and mark alongside each one whether it's fact, opinion, or emotion. Do that now. Henry Ford was a great guy. I know he said tell the customers they can have any colour they like so long as it's black, but he said some other things. And one of the great things that he would do is he would have his people around telling them about what he wanted to achieve. And some of the people would say, yeah, I think we can do that. And others would say, well, I don't know. And Henry would say, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're absolutely right. I'm absolutely, totally convinced that selling is an inner game. It's got more to do with what's going on in the mind of the salesperson than anything else. Whether you're selling products, services, or appointments. If you want to get appointments, you can get appointments. There's no doubt about that. There is a way. All we have to do is find it. Now, I'm going to be working with you in this program, but you have to make it work. So let's take the next step. Get a piece of paper and at the top, write down advantages. Let's focus on 10 good reasons why we should increase the number of appointments that we get. I'm going to give you some to get started, but then it's over to you. Here's a great one. The simple act of setting a goal to increase your appointment level will break you out of the comfort zone. You see, we all have comfort zones. We have a comfort zone in terms of how many phone calls we make, and a comfort zone in terms of conversion ratio from phone call to appointment or order. And the only way to get out of the comfort zone is to set goals. Remember, when you set the goal, don't try to go from a ratio of 10 to 1 to 1 to 1 in one go, because the motivator quickly turns into a demotivator if it's not achieved. It's much better to go from 10 to 1 to 9 to 1 to 8 to 1, etc. Do it a step at a time. For teams, we'd call these quick team wins, because anybody can go from 10 to 1 to 9 to 1. That's easy. I applied this technique with a telesales team a number of years ago when we drove the numbers down to 1.1 to 1. Almost every single phone call was an appointment. Now, I don't want to mislead you. That wasn't from cold. It was from inquiry, and it was a needs-driven product. Okay, so one of the reasons for increasing our appointment level is quite simply to break out of the comfort zone. Another good reason for increasing the number of appointments is that it will motivate you and your sales team to get out of bed on those cold, rainy, miserable winter days. If you have appointments to go to, people to see, and business to bring in, it is highly motivational. Another good reason to increase the number of appointments is that it motivates your prospects. If they know you're coming, it enables them to prepare both physically and mentally. This is taking us closer to a cozy call. Cozy is a marketing term, which means creating the optimum sales environment. Obviously, just dropping in unannounced is not the optimum. Arriving by appointment with both sides having prepared raises the chances of both buyer and seller getting more from the meeting. Another good reason to increase the number of appointments is that it sets the pace. This is the start of the production line, and the more you can push appointments on at the front end, the more you crank everything up and the faster the orders start coming off the other end of the line. Now here's an interesting statement for you to consider. We run negotiating programs, and during one of those courses, I asked the delegates to give me the characteristics of a good negotiator. One of the delegates said, "I'm not sure I know the characteristics of a good negotiator, but I do know how to negotiate good deals." I said, "Well, I'm sure everybody here would like to know that. Tell us your secret." "Oh, it's no secret," she said. "In fact, if negotiating is about power or perceived power, then the power of this is in the simplicity. Because the philosophy is very simple. If you want to negotiate good deals, make sure you have lots of deals to choose from. The more people you have wanting to buy your product, the stronger your negotiating position." Now think about this in terms of your order production line. At one end, we put in the appointments, and at the other end comes off the completed sale. But at some stage of production, we will have passed through the price negotiating stage. The more appointments you make, the more people you see. The more people you see, the more buyers you have arriving at the negotiating stage. The more buyers you have in the market for your product, the more deals you have on the table. If you only have one deal on the table, you're tempted to take that deal at any price. It's the simple law of supply and demand. By increasing your appointment level, you increase the demand for your product. The result? You increase the perceived value of your product and you attain higher average selling prices. Why? Because you don't have to take the silly deals. Okay, I've given you some reasons to increase your appointment level. Now you switch off the program and complete the list. Now let's look at the two biggest obstacles to making a sale. Number one is the salesperson's fear of rejection, and number two is the customer's fear of making a mistake. If this is true, then the number one obstacle is the salesperson's fear of rejection. Because if we don't overcome this, then we don't pick up the phone, we don't make the call, we don't get the appointment, and the customer doesn't even get the opportunity to overcome their fear of making a mistake or the opportunity to benefit from our products and services. So let's look briefly at this business of rejection and failure. You know, from our earliest childhood, people are telling us that we mustn't fail. But this is not really good advice, because there is no success without failure. Today's Olympic high jumpers didn't clear the highest bars on their first ever jump. They started on comparatively low bars, which were initially hard to clear. Once the height was mastered, the bar was raised, and so the process continued. The important thing is that they didn't give up the first time they failed to clear a bar, because they knew it was part of the process. You have to keep on keeping on until the difficult becomes easy. Then you too can be a true champion. Okay, so initially you're going to get some no's, and that's okay. The things to remember are these. Number one, it's not personal. They are not saying no to you personally. So take it professionally, but not personally. Number two, you have to go through the no's to get the yeses. If your conversion ratio is 20-1, then you have to, on average, get 19 no's before you get a yes. If you give up at 15, you'll never taste success. Number 3, the more yeses you get, the less no's you get. Why? Well, because success breeds success, and you just find the lower bars so much easier to clear. Number 4, don't confuse fact with opinion. Let me give you a sentence, and then let's see if we can separate fact from opinion. It's no use phoning Johnson & Co. They've been doing business with our competition for 15 years. They won't want to speak to us. Well, let's break that down. It's no good phoning Johnson & Co. Is that fact or opinion? Well, if we haven't done it yet, then I guess it's opinion. They've been doing business with our competition for 15 years. Well, let's accept that as a fact. They won't want to see us or do business with us, I think, is an opinion. Let's have a look at another one. We were out on delivery last time. They won't want to talk to us again. We were out on delivery last time. That's a fact. They won't want to talk to us again. That's an opinion. Here's something that happened to me. I was sitting in the office one day and the phone rang, and the call was put through to me. The caller was selling advertising space in a well-known trade magazine. Now, I won't mention the name of the magazine because it wouldn't be fair, but I think you would probably know it if I did. So I was sitting at my desk, and the call gets put through to me. I pick up the phone, and the caller says,
Hello, is that Mike Leput?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Leput. My name is Mary Jones from the XYZ publication.
Hello, Mary.
Could you please tell me, are you the person in your organisation who would make decisions regarding advertising?
I thought, this is good. She's got me qualified, and that's an important skill. So I said, yes, Mary. So far, so good. Then she said,
We are running a special feature on training in the next issue. I don't suppose you would like to take part, would you?
Now, what do you think my answer was? You've got it. My answer was no. No, but thank you for calling. That's a pleasure, she said. Can I give you a ring in a month or so? Yes, certainly. Goodbye, Mary. And we both put the phone down. Now, the tragedy is, as I was putting the phone down, I was thinking to myself, maybe I should have done that. You see, we'd advertised in that publication before and we'd had good results. And I could have been persuaded. So why didn't I say yes? If it's her job to sell it, and I'm saying I could have been persuaded to buy, why didn't I take space in that magazine? Well, I think the answer is she didn't expect me to say yes. So if she didn't expect me to say yes, why didn't she expect me to say yes? Now, what comes next is pure conjecture, because I have no way of really knowing what was going on in her mind. But I suspect that she was on a negative roll. Let's say that she's made 19 calls so far, and everyone said no. What is her expectation, do you think, for the next call? Well, I think her expectation is to get another no. She expects a no. So, let's listen to what she may have been saying to her colleagues before she picked up the phone. She may have been saying, I've made 19 calls today. Everyone said no. Nobody wants to advertise in this magazine. So let's separate fact from opinion. I've made 19 calls today. Fact. Everyone said no. Fact. Nobody wants to advertise in this magazine. Opinion. And so long as that person holds that opinion, it is more likely to become a fact. The interesting thing is that the 19 calls are not connected to the 20th unless the caller makes the connection. So the message here is don't confuse fact with opinion and raise your level of expectation and expect to get the orders and the appointments that you're phoning for. And remember, making a sale is the transfer of enthusiasm from you to the prospect. The higher the expectation, the higher the success level. One way to raise your level of expectation is to work from a good database of potential and existing customers. So let's start with existing customers. If you have a high level of repeat business, it should be fairly easy for you to get regular appointments with those customers. If the repeat business cycle is a little bit longer, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, you need to have a good contact strategy with class A, B, C, D customers being contacted at different call frequencies. If you're going after new business, then the easiest person to sell to is one that has the same characteristics as your existing customers. If you've been successful with printers, why not phone all the printers? If you've been successful with hotels, focus on hotels or manufacturing or retail. The question is, what customer profile gives you the very best chance of getting a yes when you phone? What is the ideal customer profile for your product or service? Remember, we are after a cozy call, and target marketing is part of creating the optimum sales environment. Pause the program now, describe your ideal customer, return to the program when you're ready. Now, how big is the market? If there are 1,000 customers in the profile and you already have 100% of their business, you either need to find new customers for your product or new products for your customers. If there are 1,000 and we're only doing business with one, then there's plenty to go at. So how up to date is your database, and where can you find the information you need to update it if necessary? Using a good quality, well-maintained database is a key result area. If the people we phone have no use for our products or services, then that's our fault and not theirs. Clearly defined target marketing, the ability to phone the right people at the right time with the right offer will dramatically increase your chances of success. If you're starting from scratch, you can look at publications such as Compass or Dun & Bradstreet. You can buy in lists with amazing amount of detail. You can target people by geography, by age, by average earnings. You can target companies by industry sector, by turnover, by number of employees, by the type of equipment that they use, whether they buy it, hire it, or lease it. You name it, you can target it. And the better you target your market, the better your conversion ratio will be from call to order or appointment. So now we know why we're doing this. We know that successful telephone selling is in the mind of the salesperson. We understand the barriers. We no longer confuse fact with opinion. We are determined to keep on keeping on until we become champions of this master skill. And we're building a powerful database. The question now is, what are you going to say when you pick up the phone? It's time to talk about scripts. To get the success you deserve, you must have a strong, attention-grabbing, benefit-focused script with a strong call for action. We need to remember that people are very busy these days. They have many demands on their time. The latest research suggests that the average person receives up to 1,500 unwanted messages every day from billboards, posters, TV, radio, newspapers, internet, email, faxes, telephone calls, and people just walking in unannounced. You're in competition with all of this for your prospect's attention. On top of this, you have to break preoccupation. That means that he or she is not sitting there hoping you'll phone. They're preoccupied, perhaps preparing for a meeting, writing a report, or maybe doing some statistical analysis. They have high priority work to do. Then out of the blue, the phone rings, and it's you. What are you going to say? If you're new to professional telephone selling, you may have cringed when I said script. Do you think that Sir Winston Churchill motivated this great nation during World War II with speeches made without a script? Do you believe that Martin Luther King made that great speech without a script? Do you believe that comedians go up on stage and get laughs without a script? Do you believe that a high-achieving telephone sales professional would pick up the phone without writing, rewriting, refining, and perfecting a script? Remember, the best ad-libbed lines are the most rehearsed. The skill is to have a great script that sounds ad-libbed. That doesn't mean that you can never leave the script. It's a bit like planning a journey. We have a start point and a destination. Then we work out the quickest route. Sometimes we have to leave the route because it's blocked. And we have to take a detour. But that doesn't mean that we're going to get lost. We simply go around the detour and get back en route. Or in this case, back on script. Because we know it's the fastest route to our destination. Your success in telephone selling depends on A, who you're going to talk to, B, what you're going to say, and C, how you're going to say it. Your database, inquiries and follow-up system will determine who you're going to talk to. Your script will determine what you're going to say, and practice will determine how you're going to say it. With a great script, you can, like Sir Winston Churchill, like Martin Luther King, like Gandhi, motivate your audience and achieve outstanding results. You have within you the power to be one of the greatest salespeople of all time. Write a great script and prepare for the success you deserve. Do it now, and I'll join you when you're ready. Hello and welcome back. We're going to look at proven methods that you can use to increase the power of your script, increase your confidence level, increase your conversion ratios, and increase the number of sales or appointments that you get, whether you're selling products, services, or appointments. In telephone selling, you get about 30 seconds to convince your prospect to listen to you. A well-prepared, interesting, and interactive script will dramatically increase your chances of success. Let's start with a not-so-good script and see how we can improve it.
Hello?
Hello, my name is Mike Laput from the XYZ Company, and I'm going to be in your area next week. Can I come and see you?
What's it about, Mike?
Well, I'm the new salesman for the XYZ Company, and my boss said I should give you a ring.
Well, I'm very busy at the moment. Why don't you put it in the post?
Oh, okay. Can I give you a ring in about a month or so?
Yeah, fine.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was a pretty poor script, I'll admit. But what are the basic problems with it? Well, when a busy person takes a call, initially they're only interested in three things, which are: who are you, what do you want, and what's in it for me, the prospect. In the call I said who I was, and I said what I wanted, but I didn't say what was in it for the prospect. Another basic fault is that I didn't qualify that the person I was talking to was in fact the decision maker, and therefore the one that I should be getting the appointment with. Another classic is to say I'm in your area. It almost suggests that if I wasn't in your area, I wouldn't be bothering. It doesn't make the customer feel very special. Never say in your area. Use the name of the city, district, or town. Pause the program now. Look at the script that you've written and ask, does it A, qualify that the person you're talking to is the right person? And B, does it answer the questions, who are you, what do you want, and what's in it for me? If necessary, rewrite your script, join the program when you're ready. Okay, let's have another go. Hello, Mike Laput.
Hello, Mr. Laput. My name is Mary Smith from the XYZ Print Company.
Oh, hello, Mary. How can I help you?
Well, I'd like to come and see you about our new 4-colour print process.
Interesting. What's so special about it, Mary?
Well, it's twice as fast.
That sounds good. What else?
It gives much better quality.
I see. And what else, Mary?
Well, it's cheaper.
Oh, I see. And what's your lead time?
Well, we can turn around most jobs in about a week.
That's very interesting, Mary. Thank you for your call. And if I need anything, I'll certainly give you a ring. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
In this one, the salesperson still didn't qualify that I was the right person to be talking to. She did say who she was and what she wanted, and with some prompting told me what the service would do for me. But what went wrong? Well, the first thing is that the salesperson has lost control, because it is the person asking the questions that will control the phone call. Let's re-listen to that, and you'll notice that the customer is asking all of the questions, and the salesperson is out of control. You may think that when Mary said, "I'd like to come and see you," she was asking a question. when in fact she was making a statement which didn't require an answer. Let's re-listen to that. Hello, Mike Laputte.
Hello, Mr. Laputte. My name is Mary Smith from the XYZ Print Company.
Oh, hello, Mary. How can I help you?
Well, I'd like to come and see you about our new 4-colour print process.
Interesting. What's so special about it, Mary?
Well, it's twice as fast.
That sounds good. What else?
It gives much better quality.
I see. And what else, Mary?
Well, it's cheaper.
I see. And what's your lead time?
Well, we can turn around most jobs in about a week.
That's very interesting, Mary. Thank you for your call. And if I need anything, I'll certainly give you a ring. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Now, I'm not saying that we never allow the customer to have control. But we do need to know who has it and how to get it back when we need it. The message here is the person asking the question is in control of the phone call. One way to do this is to use the statement question technique. When I asked Mary what her lead time was, she could have responded like this. What is your lead time?
It varies. Tell me what you're looking for. What did you have in mind?
I was thinking about a 4-page flyer.
What would you want on it?
It would be our fast-moving lines, I guess.
When would you want that to go out?
Using the statement question technique, Mary has made a statement, put a question on the end, taken control of the call, identified a need, and is well on her way to getting an order. Using the statement question technique is a key skill that you should master, shouldn't you? What else is going wrong? Well, the salesperson is giving away far too much information. So much so that at the end of the call, there will be no need for a face-to-face meeting because the prospect will have all the information they need. The salesperson is trying to sell the product on the phone. Now, if this is telesales and the prospect can buy over the phone, then that's great. But if this needs a face-to-face meeting to get the order, then here is the rule. When phoning for an appointment, sell the appointment, not the product. Sell the appointment, not the product.
Hello, Julie speaking.
Hello, is that Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, it is.
Hello, Mrs. Johnson. My name is Mike Laputte from the XYZ Company. This is my first call to Johnson & Co. Wonder if you could please help me.
Yes, certainly, if I can.
Thank you for that. Could you please tell me who's responsible for controlling distribution costs in your company?
I am.
Thank you. Can I confirm your title?
Yes, I'm the distribution director.
Mrs. Johnson, at the XYZ Company, we work specifically in your industry. My role is to work with senior managers, helping them find ways to reduce costs in materials handling and distribution. Do these areas come under your control?
Yes, they do, Mike.
The purpose of my call is to see if we could set up a meeting. This would give you the opportunity to see how other people in your industry have already benefited. Only needs to be a short meeting, and you could decide where the true savings are for Johnson & Co. I'd be happy to fit in with your schedule. When would be the best time for you?
Well, I'm going to be busy for the next couple of weeks, Mike.
That's fine, Mrs. Johnson. How does your diary look for week of the 19th?
Why don't you call in on the 20th at about 2 o'clock?
Certainly.
So that's Mike Laputte, 2 o'clock, Tuesday the 20th.
Thank you, Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. OK, now I know that the appointment has been granted without a lot of dialogue and without any objections. But my goal here is to see how we can build the main parts into the script. So let's break it down and see what's going on. Remember, the first thing we have to do is to break preoccupation. One way is to use a person's name, and the other one is to ask a question. And the opening contains both of these.
Hello, Julie speaking.
Hello, is that Mrs. Johnson?
Yes, it is.
Now, Mrs. Johnson wants to know, who are you, what do you want, and what's in it for me? For my part, I want her help. I want to know if she is the decision maker. I want to know if she can benefit from my products and services. And I want to know when we can meet. Let's go back to the script. My name is Mike Laputte from the XYZ Company. This is my first call to Johnson & Co. I wonder if you could please help me. To which she answered, yes, if I can. By the time we get to this stage, we've broken preoccupation, mentioned the name of her company, and gained her commitment to help. Let's listen to the script. Thank you for that. Can you please tell me who is responsible for controlling distribution costs in your company?
I am.
If the answer had been Jim Jones, then it's good shot, wrong target. Don't keep selling. Thank Mrs. Johnson for the information, get transferred, go back to the top of the script and start all over again with Mr. Jones. Let's go back to the script. Can you please confirm your title?
Yes, I'm the distribution director.
Mrs. Johnson, at the XYZ company, we specialise in your industry. My role is to work with senior managers, helping them find ways to reduce costs in materials handling and distribution. Do these areas come under your control?
Yes, they do, Mike.
So now I know that Mrs. Johnson is the right person that I should talk to, and Mrs. Johnson has some idea of the benefits that are going to be in this for her. I then go on to ask for a meeting. Now, two of the biggest objections to getting appointments are, I haven't got the time and I don't want to be pressured. The best time to handle an objection is before it comes up. So in the script, it says it'll be a short meeting and you can decide. It is important that you have a conversational tone and that there is controlled interaction. Be careful not to make outrageous claims that have very little credibility. In fact, it's very often better to take the low road. Variations of this script have proved to be extremely successful. Pause the program, look at your own script, and see how it can be changed to make it even better than it is. Once you have perfected your script, your confidence will grow, your conversion ratio will improve, you'll feed your order production line with appointments, and you'll produce more and more orders. What you've done so far is to start off with a script and then make some changes to it. What I'd like you to do now is put that script to one side and rewrite something totally different, applying the same principles but with totally different words. And you should have 2, maybe 3 scripts so that you can compare one against the other and test them live. Right, although you will see a dramatic increase in your success from a good script, you still have some work to do. Although many of your prospects will give you an appointment at the end of a good script, some may raise objections. The thing to remember is the more objections you get, the weaker your script. The stronger your script, the less objections you'll get. As a professional salesperson, you need to be aware of and have responses to the main objections. What I'm going to give you now is 14 standard objections. You write them down, and then at the end, pause the program, go through the list that I've given you, and write down how you believe you would respond to each of these objections. So, let's go. The objections are,
Look, I'm just too busy.
I'm going on holiday.
Just put it in the post.
I'm only collecting information at this stage.
Leave it with me, I'll think about it.
How much does it cost?
You're too expensive.
I'm just not in the market.
You'd be wasting your time.
We always use another supplier.
I don't need it.
You should contact somebody lower down.
Don't come and see me, tell me about it now.
Look, I just can't afford it.
well, there's 14 standard objections. How would you respond to those? Pause the program, have a go, and when you're ready, we'll give you some standard responses. Okay, let's look at some standard responses to those objections. What I'm going to give you are responses that have been given to us by professional salespeople who say that these work well for them. So let's go.
Look, I'm just too busy.
I understand you're very busy, Mrs. Johnson. That's why I'm phoning for an appointment. If you can give me a time that suits your schedule, it'll only take a short meeting and you can decide where the benefits are for Johnson & Co. When would be the best time for us to meet?
I'm going on holiday.
Oh, all right, then. Can I give you a ring in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Wrong. The purpose of this call is to get an appointment. What's all this I'll phone you in a couple of weeks business? Let's try that one again.
I'm going on holiday.
Lucky you. Where are you going?
Florida.
Sounds great. How long are you going for?
Oh, a couple of weeks.
Well, I won't keep you. You obviously have a lot to do before you go. Why don't we fix a date for about a week after you get back? How does your diary look for the week of the 27th?
Just put it in the post.
Oh, okay then. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Just put it in the post.
I'd be glad to, Mrs. Johnson, but I pass your office regularly, and I would like to go through this with you personally so that I can answer any questions you may have. When would be the best time for you?
I'm only collecting information at this stage.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll leave it with you.
I'm only collecting information at this stage.
That's very wise. You'd be surprised how many people leave this at the very last moment. Obviously, if you're collecting information, you want it to be the very best you can get. It would only take a short meeting to relate the information to your specific needs. I'm going to be in Warrington next week. What day would be best for you?
Leave it with me. I'll think about it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, but if you're going to give this extra thought, I really ought to make sure you have all of the facts. That way, you'll be able to make a more informed decision. If we could slot in 20 to 30 minutes one day next week, I'll make sure you have the very best information. What would be the best time for you?
How much does it cost?
It costs £9,250.
How much does it cost?
Well, getting value for money is obviously very important to you, Mrs. Johnson. And if it's not absolutely right for you, we won't do it and it won't cost you anything. If it is right, there could be substantial savings for you and your company. When would be the best time for us to meet?
You're too expensive.
I understand that value for money is important, Mrs. Johnson, and I will be pleased to explain many of the money-saving features to you when we meet. When would be the best time for you?
I'm just not in the market.
Oh, well, I'll give you a ring in a couple of months then. Thanks. Goodbye.
I'm just not in the market.
I understand that, Mrs. Johnson, and the purpose of my call is not really to sell you anything. It's just to give you the opportunity to stay in touch with the very latest developments. It'll only take a short meeting, and I'll leave you with the very latest up-to-date information. When would be the best time for us to meet?
You'd be wasting your time.
Oh, well, thanks anyway. Goodbye.
Bye. You'd be wasting your time.
It's very nice of you to consider me, Mrs. Johnson. I appreciate that. And I will keep the meeting short and to the point so as to make the best use of your time. I'm going to be in Daventry next Tuesday. Would morning or afternoon be better for you?
We always use another supplier.
So there's no point in me calling then?
No, not really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. We always use another supplier.
I appreciate your loyalty, Mrs. Johnson. And I'm not asking you to change supplier. But I would like to give you the opportunity to make an informed comparison with what's available on the market. When would be the best time for us to meet?
I don't need it.
Oh, well, thanks anyway. Bye.
Bye. I don't need it.
Well, we certainly wouldn't want you to invest in anything you don't need, Mrs. Johnson. Any more than we would want you to miss out on something that could save your company money. If we could schedule a short meeting next week, you could decide where the real benefits are for Johnson & Co. When would be the best time for us to meet?
You should contact somebody lower down.
Who do you think I should speak to?
Oh, speak to the maintenance man.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. You should contact somebody lower down.
I would welcome the opportunity to meet another member of your staff, Mrs. Johnson. However, I do believe the benefits of XYZ will be of particular interest to you personally. Perhaps we could meet one day next week. When would be the best time for you?
Don't come and see me. Tell me about it now.
Oh, okay then. The fat bit goes into the thin bit, and it gets wrapped up in paper, and we put it in the machine, and we print it, and it comes out, and... Remember, the object of the exercise is sell the appointment, not the product.
Don't come and see me. Tell me about it now.
I'd like to be able to tell you more, Mr. Johnson. However, I do need to show you some details to establish which part is of most interest to you. If we could get together for a short meeting, I'll explain everything to you. When would be the best time for us to meet?
Look, I just can't afford it.
I understand that nobody in today's market is going to invest in anything without a return. The whole purpose of this is that it actually saves you money. Why don't we get together to see where the real savings could be for Johnson & Co.? When would be the best time for us to meet? So, there you have 14 standard objections and 14 responses. What I suggest you do is to look through each one of those, write and rewrite, practice, practice, and practice. You should also make a list of the standard objections that you're getting selling your products and services and do exactly the same thing. In the military, they have things called IA drills, immediate action drills. When things go wrong, those people know exactly what to do. Your job is to identify the potential objections and have your own immediate action drills. Well done! You've done a lot of good work during this program. You've got your positive mental attitude, you've written your script, you've identified your objections, you've worked on how to handle the objections, and let's assume that you can now get the appointment. Our sales training program entitled How to Sell, Sell, Sell and Smash Target will give you a step-by-step guide on how to get the best results from your face-to-face call. But before we end, it's important to remember the best time for you to get the next appointment is before you leave. Either you're never going to see this person again, or you need to get an appointment arranged before you leave. I can remember Tom Wood, Managing Director of Varta Industrial Batteries. Tom called on me when I'd just taken over the UK operation for one of the world's largest lift truck companies. We had the meeting, and Tom's parting shot went like this. Well, Mike, thanks for a good meeting. My salesman will call on your buyer and keep on top of the day-to-day business. But perhaps you and I should schedule in some regular meetings to make sure that our two companies are working well together. Okay, Tom, what do you suggest? Why don't we put in our diaries to meet for a maximum of 1 hour, say, every 6 weeks? I'll be happy to come to you. Yeah, okay, Tom. Mike, while we're penciling this in, why don't we decide to talk about XYZ at our next meeting? Yeah, okay, Tom. Thanks, Mike. Bye. Bye. Now, what has Tom done? He's sold me another 7 appointments. He's got himself into my schedule. He's set the agenda for the next meeting. Over the years, Varta have done millions of pounds worth of business. The message here is get the next appointment before you leave. Sell your appointments in bunches, set the agenda for the next appointment, and start work on locking out the competition. Thank you for listening to this program. The skills and techniques that we've covered work. They've worked for me, they've worked for thousands of sales professionals, and I know they're going to work for you. Remember the factory model. Keep feeding your order production line. The more you put the appointments on at the front end, the more the orders will come rolling off at the other end. And the faster you will get the success you deserve. My name is Mike Leput. Thank you for listening, and I wish you every success.
If you're in business, why not train your team as a team? Every day, dynamic companies are tapping into the power of their people. Your staff have ideas, energies, and enthusiasm that can benefit your business. Our job at MLP Training is to help you develop your team and your business to new levels of job satisfaction and company profits. Training your team as a team will mean focusing on the needs of your people, your market, and the success of your company. Why not call today to arrange a meeting? 01204 888826. Alternatively, if you've enjoyed this programme and you're in sales, dial the same number 01204 888826 and ask for details of how to sell, and smash targets every month. Or purchase online from www.mlptraining.co.uk.